Hello, everybody. We are now in a round two or game two of the first round of the Argent Arena between GoXDs and Moon Knight. So, this is should be an excellent game. Both Karin for GoXDS and Riflam for Moon Knight are some of their best characters. So this should be an exciting match, really played to the character's best abilities. And so I am really excited. I think there's a lot to learn watching both of these players play these characters because they're both some of their best characters in the game. Starting out, Karin actually plays coordinated dodge. This is actually an interesting move. Playing dodge early does make sense for a lot of different things, but I find this very interesting to play it with coordinated. It puts your opponent in an extremely awkward position because if you run by them and then they burst onto Jaeger, they take additional damage. It also makes it so that your opponent is kind of in a poor position with you cornered and with Jaeger behind them. It puts them in a position where it's really hard for them to avoid you and avoid Jaeger and all of the extremely powerful options that Karin has with Jaeger. So this is a really powerful attack and puts Moon Knight in a pretty difficult position. Moon Knight, on the other hand, makes his grasp ridiculously fast, which will be useful if he can maintain close distance to get that additional speed bonus. This next beat, Karin plays Howling Shot. Howling Shot is really good from this position because it is a full board coverage attack, and it gives Karin Stun Guard. Considering that Moon Knight is going crazy and taking additional power here, the Stun Guard might actually be of high importance, and in fact, it's very important because Moon Knight plays Substantial Drive here, which is an extremely powerful attack that's extremely fast. But because Karin has the stun immunity given to her by Howling, Substantial Drive will not be able to stun her this beat. And so Moon Knight is able to get his additional priority, which, as I said with the Eligor matches, it's good to watch out for this. So I think Moon Knight thinks the way to beat Karin is to outspeed her, which is why he made his grasp faster, and now he's getting the additional speed reagent back so they can make his other attacks faster as well. So we'll see how this goes. It is beat 2 and we are tied up. A lot of damage has been dealt back and forth, but we are tied up at this point. GoXDS plays Full Moon Strike. Again, having this corner has put his opponent in an awkward position with dodges. That he couldn't dodge him, but Moon Knight actually plays a really interesting attack here and plays Experimental Dodge. The reason Experimental Dodge is so powerful here is that if his opponent wants to use the Full Moon effect and switch, he can dodge over him, and if he doesn't switch, he can just dodge away and be outside of the range of his opponent's attack. So yeah, so as it turns out, Moon Knight is able to dodge because his opponent couldn't switch with Full Moon, because if they did, he would have dodged him because Experimental made dodge such a slow attack. So now we move on to beat 4. In beat 4, Karin plays one of her best attacks at range, which is Feral Claw. Oh, it didn't come up. Well, anyway, Feral Claw is an excellent move at range. It allows you to close, and then if they're standing next to Jaeger, which he is, you can move Jaeger underneath them and stun them. Moon Knight actually plays a really interesting pair here and plays Residual Burst. And the reason this is interesting is that Moon Knight antis the Stun Guard reagent. I find it very difficult while playing Riflam to know when to play the Stun Guard reagent, and this ends up being a really powerful pair to play the Stun Guard reagent with. And the reason is that with Feral Claw, as long as he stays away from Jaeger, it's really hard for GoXDS to stun him, and by having on Burst, he can use Bursted to safely get away from other attacks and only basically be threatened by Feral Claw. And so this combination of having the stun guard on the burst allows Moon Knight to take damage from a Feral Claw and actually be able to safely attack back. And since he played this residual, this is actually powering up his burst each time he uses it, making the burst hit harder and harder every time that GoXDS decides to use Feral Claw. So now we are moving on to beat 5. GoXDS retreats away with his movement, and Moon Knight advances as he's trying to keep within a reasonable range. Karin can afford being at a really far away range because of attacks like Howling and Full Moon, and so even though they're at a far distance from each other, having Howling and Full Moon and coordinated, I think it's coordinated, which allows your opponent to be moved if they're standing on a Jaeger, allows Karin to fight at a distance as it is. So GoXDS plays Howling Grasp here, and even though Moon Knight plays Alchemaic and plays the priority reagent, Howling Grasp ends up being faster here, at least for this go around, and Karin is able to play a Grasp with the additional damage, outspeed his opponent, and stun them so that they can't drive in, which was just a really huge win for Karin this beat. But moving forward, the Alchemaic is putting additional speed on drive, so that will likely not happen again since drive is now a speed 6 attack. GoXDS plays Full Moon Shot. Again, I really like this attack because GoXDS can switch if it makes sense, and if he doesn't switch, he's far enough away where if your opponent moves closer, he can hit him with the shot without moving. As it is, Moon Knight plays Experimental Dodge again, and this shows the power of having a dodge that's low speed, because again, if Karin decides to switch, Moon Knight is able to easily dodge him, and if he doesn't switch, he can just move for free and stay out of range. And so this is an interesting way and an interesting counter to Full Moon is to play a slow dodge, which allows you to react to the fact if they decide to Full Moon or not. And so Moon Knight is able to retreat one and then advance one after his opponent misses, maintain the range, and get rid of his opponent's Full Moon. So now, now we're moving on to beat 7, and GoXDS plays Feral Claw again. Feral Claw is a full board attack. It's really powerful, but it doesn't do a lot of damage, and it relies on moving Jaeger underneath their space in order to stun them. So Moon Knight plays Residual Burst, and like I said earlier, he put the additional stun guard in Burst, which means that Residual Burst is actually one of the perfect counters to Feral Claw, because you're able to burst away from Jaeger so that you don't get stunned by the Feral effect, and even if your opponent closes in and hits you with Feral Claw, when they retreat too, they're still within the range of your Residual Burst. So again, GoXDS plays Feral Claw. Moon Knight counters with Residual Burst because he saw it coming, and it ends up going in the favor of Moon Knight. And now, since every time he's playing Residual, it powers the attack, +1 power, +1 speed, Burst is becoming an extremely scary attack. I think hitting for, is it 5 base? Yeah, hitting for 5 base at 3 speed, which is really powerful. So now we're going to be moving on to beat 8. Yeah, beat 8. And we'll see what happens. GoXDS uses his end of movement to retreat away. Moon Knight uses his end of beat to maintain range by advancing. So GoXDS, let's see. Moon Knight antis range here. GoXDS anti-speed. We'll see what's happening. This ends up being an anti-fest. And man, there's speed and force and power and range. And GoXDS was playing dual dodge the whole time. It's kind of funny. This reminds me in poker that you bet the most when you have the least, and so it seems like by anteing that priority, it forced Moon Knight to anti-priority back, anti-power back, react in such a way, and the whole time GoXDS was just messing with him. As it turns out, though, because Moon Knight anti that additional range, he's actually able to outspeed his opponent and hit him at range 1 to 3, and almost stun GoXDS at this point. So it is really tight at this point, and GoXDS only has 1 life as we move to beat 9, which really is a scary position, and every beat matters. So GoXDS will play. We'll see what happens here. So GoXDS actually will play Full Moon Drive this turn. And I think he did it because this is probably the fastest attack that he could play. Yeah, and he was hoping that with that speed, he would be able to close on his opponent no matter what. But his opponent, as I said earlier, wisely plays experimental dodge. And so it puts his opponent in a position where if they switch with Full Moon, he can dodge past him. And if he doesn't switch with Full Moon, then he can move with his dodge and his opponent can't hit him. So experimental dodge ended up being, throughout this match, just an incredible counter to Full Moon. And it's really interesting thing to know, and it's something I will definitely take into my games in the future to remember that a low speed dodge is a really powerful way to counter Full Moon. So now we're moving to beat 10. Now, if you've been paying attention the last couple beats, every time they could, GoXDS has been playing Feral Claw, and Moon Knight has been countering with Burst over and over and over again. And so what ends up happening is Moon Knight counters with Burst here again, but GoXDS actually plays Howling Grasp. And so Moon Knight jumps back into the range of Howling Grasp, and GoXDS is actually able to get the win here and beat him, even though GoXDS was at 1 life. So this was just a matter of a call. Moon Knight successfully had called Feral Claw the last 2 times that GoXDS did it, but since GoXDS decided to change it up, Moon Knight wasn't ready, and GoXDS was able to take this game. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll be recording some more of these Argent Arena games as they come in, and I hope you enjoy watching them and learning from them as I do. Take it easy. Bye.